Hello and welcome back to Simple-ESL, and today we are looking at survival. Now, how would it be difficult to live in hard conditions, in cold places, in warm places? What would make it difficult? And what we would do using unconditional language. I would do this. I would do that. If I were you, I would. So we're going to use unreal conditionals to talk about survival situations. Let's crack in. So we have, as always, the vocabulary help sheet, which is available in the description below. If you subscribe to the channel, you'll find all the latest videos. If you go to Simple-ESL.com, everything we have is available there. T-shirts, worksheets, you name it, it's up there. And if you subscribe and follow the Instagram account, these are posted on there as well. So you can find the worksheets, the help sheets, to help you build as we go. And as you can see, we have survival, unreal conditions. We're talking about survival tools to do with the vocabulary to do with survival tools that can help you survive a difficult situation, and the places that are difficult. Let's go through some of the places. So what could this place be? It gets lots of rain. There's lots of rain. There's animals like monkeys and jaguars. It could be the rainforest. And what would be difficult about living in the rainforest? Well, it's dark, it's damp, there's lots of animals. So what would you need to do to survive? Start thinking, would you build a fire? Would you build a shelter? Would you need weapons? Would you need an axe? What would you do to survive in the forest? We should all know this one. It's in space. It's the moon. And what would be difficult about the moon? Everything. You can't breathe. There's no air. It's dirt. There's just dirt. There's nothing there. Think of Neil Armstrong on the moon. There's no gravity. You're bouncing around. What else could be difficult about living on the moon? What would you do to survive? What's this place? So we have the North Pole and the South Pole, both ends of the world. We would call it the Arctic and the Antarctic. So problems living here. It's cold, okay? It's really chilly. There are polar bears, big bears that will attack you. There's no plants, there's no life, there's no trees. How can you make a fire with no wood? How will you stay warm in the Antarctic? Now this, very high up, very high. So what would we call this? This might be a mountain, and there's an area it's covering. It's a mountain range. Think of all those famous people climbing Mount Everest. What's difficult about living on a mountain range? There's no trees. The air is thin. It's hard to breathe. It's tiring climbing the mountain. So would you have to bring shelter? Will you have to bring food? What would you do to get food? Living on a mountain range, very difficult. Now what if the mountain explodes? Explodes. What would we call this? So we have an example here of a volcanic island. What's difficult about living on a volcanic island? Well, there could be beautiful wildlife, lots of animals, lots of food, drink. It could be beautiful. And then all of a sudden, it explodes. Volcano. Lava coming down the mountain. So what would be difficult about living on a volcanic island? Maybe you would need a mode of transport to escape the volcano, perhaps a boat. Now we can see this looks hot. It is a desert. So living in the desert, what would be some of the problems? The sun is hot. You need to cool down in the shade. So would you build a shelter? I would build a shelter, but are there trees to make a shelter? How would you drink? Would you drink water? Where would you find water in the desert? What other problems are there with living in a sandy, hot wasteland? Now here, where are we? When the shelter, it's cool, it's dank. Any ideas? Well, it's a cave. So we have shelter. That's great. What could be some of the problems? There's not a lot of food in the cave. There could be bears in the cave. There could be bats above. What other problems could there be? And what would you do to survive? I would make a fire. Make a fire, stay warm, keep animals away. Now here, where are we? Could be lots of alligators. It is a swamp. In a swamp, there could be lots of alligators, but it could also be lots of food. There's lots of shelter. So what would you do to survive in a swamp? It could be difficult. So keep thinking, if you were in those places, what problems would there be? My main example, for example, in the desert, we would have to look for water. So with each place, think of one thing, the first thing that you would have to do to survive. So if you were in those places, what problems would there be? So look at the places and think of the biggest problem. We wouldn't be able to find food, for example. If we were, let's say, in a cave, we wouldn't be able to find food. So the first thing I would do, I would make a fire. Second, I would look for food, as we wouldn't be able to find food easily. If you were in those places, what problems would there be? So, for example, if we stayed in the desert, it's hot, it's really hot, we would need shelter. So if we stayed there for a long time, we would need to build a shelter. So, first thing that you would do, what would be a problem? What would be the biggest issue? And if you were in those places, what problems would there be and how would you fix them? Here we go, a bit of a matching game. I always like a matching game. So we want to match the correct word with the statement. This is just for a bit more vocabulary to talk about, well, to talk about survival. It'll be useful. So an area, what could an area be? Well, it's a region or space, an area. So you would look around the area for food. What about caravan? What's a caravan? If you're on holiday and you have a car, it's a small movable house that you can pull by a car. So a caravan, these can also be pulled by horses, but a caravan is a place where you can take shelter and be safe. So if we went to a mountain range, I would bring my caravan. So we have a shelter before we go up the mountain, a place to stay warm and safe. Caretaker. What could a caretaker be? Someone looks after something. So it's someone who looks after a building. So a caretaker might look after your shelter, might look after your building. What about dig? What could dig mean? So dig is to break things up. To dig a hole, you're breaking up soil and making it smaller. So if you needed to dig to survive, maybe you're going to dig a hole to catch something, or you're going to dig yourself a camp. You can have that. What about edge? What's edge? The edge of something. It's the outside of something, a border. So would you make camp on the edge of a river? Would you be on the edge of a mountainside? Floating or float. What could this be? Or to float? Maybe it'd be a boat or a raft would float. So it'd be floating on water, staying on top of the water. So if we're making a boat or a raft to escape an island, to escape a volcanic island, it would need to float. Floor. What is floor? Floor? It is a level of a building. Many floors in a flat. Not to be confused with ground. What is ground? So floor is the floors of a building, the levels of a building. What is the ground? It's the earth, the land, the thing underneath your feet is the ground. So when it's the surface of the world, it's the ground. In a building, the bottom floor is called the ground floor. It's the level of a building, but it's on the earth, the ground floor. So when we're camping in these places, we will be on the ground. Is that a good idea? Would you go up a tree for safety? Isolated, far away from any other people. All those places, for the most part, were isolated. You're by yourself. There is no one else. No one else to help. You need to find a way to survive. What about rubbish? So rubbish is English. In American, it would be trash. So rubbish or trash. It's waste material, litter, garbage, things that you would throw away. So you screw it up, throw it away. Rubbish. Would there be much rubbish where we're staying? Would we create rubbish? How about tie? What's a tie? Or what does it mean to tie? To tie is make a knot, tie things up with string, with rope. So if we're going to tie something, this could be useful for survival. We're going to tie a rope to make a raft. And now we can survive because our raft will float away from the isolated island. And the final one, tourist attraction. Maybe those places are tourist attractions. It's a place that you want to visit when you travel. Can you think of any tourist attractions you would like to visit? Maybe the Leaning Tower of Pisa, maybe Big Ben, Westminster Abbey. Can you think of places that you would like to travel? These would be called a tourist attraction. So there's a little bit more vocabulary that we can use when we're building our sentences and talking about how we would survive on our travels. But let's go into some grammar. So we're going to look at unreal conditions. So an unreal condition, how do we build this and what do we mean? So it's would plus the verb. So if it's in the present, how would we do this? Well, in the present, it's not true. It would be nice to live by the sea. So it would be nice. It's not real. It's not true. It's an unreal condition. It would, and the verb, be nice to live by the sea. I don't live by the sea, but it would be nice to. So in our survival situation, it would be nice to find food. It would be nice to find water. We don't have food or water. It would be nice to have it. What about in the future? So it might or might not happen. This could happen. I would like to climb Mont Blanc again. This is an example. Something the person, he would like to climb the mountain again. Now, he might go, he might not. It's in the future, he might go. So what would you like to do in the survival situation? I would like to build a shelter. We might build a shelter, we might not. We will only find out as time goes on. It's in the future. And we can use a second conditional. So I used one earlier. If I were you, I would do this. So the first conditional, if I were you. Second conditional, I would. So once I'm you, I would then do this thing. So if I were you, I would visit the Gobi Desert. Now I'm not you, but if I were you, I would do this. So when you're talking about your survival situations, if I were you, I would look for water. I'm not you, but if I were, that's what I would do. Learning a new language is hard. We know this. We're trying to do this on the channel. But a way to make it easier would be having a tutor. But organising that around your busy schedule is difficult. This is where Preply come in. They are a global marketplace for tutoring. You can speak confidently with the best online tutors. They provide tutors in English, Spanish, French, virtually any language if you can think of it. Preply offer tutors in that subject. So if you want to practice English with native English speakers, they have a tutor for that. If you want to pick up a new language like Japanese, Dutch, Czech, Turkish, the best way to learn is to practice with a native speaker and someone who knows the language. Preply can help with this. They have expert tutors, and you can find native speakers and certified private tutors. They have verified profiles, and they check to confirm each tutor's profile. So you don't just have someone saying they can speak the language when they can't. If they say they are qualified, they are qualified. You can learn anytime and take online lessons at the time that suits you. And this is brilliant because I always find I've got a busy schedule. It's never the same from week to week. With Preply, you can plan your lessons around your busy schedule, around work, around school, and it's affordable. You can get an experienced tutor on a budget that suits you. You just find the tutor, look at their price, and boom, you're sorted. You have a tutor. So Preply works by finding you a tutor. It has over 49,000 online tutors, of which I am one. And Preply offers a 100% satisfaction guarantee. If you're not satisfied with your trial lesson, they will give you a replacement tutor or a full refund. And here's the best bit. With my link in the description below, you can get 30% off when you book a lesson. So book a lesson and have your discount applied at checkout. So why not find that language tutor who can help you and push you over the top? And if you enjoy my videos and you think, I would love to have him as a tutor, guess what? I have a tutoring profile. Yes, I tutor on Preply. I think it's a great service. I think it's a really useful platform for teaching and tutoring. And if you're interested, you can find my link in the description below. So that's Preply. So a little bit more vocabulary. We're going to look at tools that can help you survive. But rather than just listing them off, which is kind of boring, I'm going to read, you need to listen to the situations and match the most suitable tool to the situation. So if you have your vocabulary help sheets, off we go. So we're going to have a little look with this. It would be nice to build a fire. First, I need some wood. So what tool would help us get wood? We need to chop. Any thoughts? Maybe axe. I would need an axe to chop wood to make a fire. So what other situations? I would need to light the fire. What can I use? What can I use to light the fire? Make the fire start. Could be matches. I could use matches to make my fire. If I were you, I would try to find some food. There is a river nearby. What tool could we use with the river nearby? Looking at the help sheet. A fishing rod. Catch some fish. Then we have some food. If I were you, I would find a way out of the rainforest. How can we navigate our way through the rainforest? How can we explore the area safely? Could use a compass. A compass would help us find our way. He would like to stay dry tonight in the Antarctic. So he's in the Antarctic. How could he stay dry? He could build a shelter. But what could he use? Something waterproof that he can put over. A tarpaulin. He would use a tarpaulin. So at this point, we know how to use the unreal conditionals. I would, he would, she would. If I were you, I would. We know the vocabulary, we know the places, we know tools. So why don't we try to survive? So we're looking at survival, and this is the survival guide task. Now this is a task for you to do in your own time. It's available on the worksheet. I would like you to create a guide detailing survival tips using the vocabulary covered. So pick a place. Are you on the moon? Are you in a cave? Are you in the desert? What would you need to do first? I would need to build a shelter. How would you survive until rescue arrives, or rescue or help arrives? I would need food. I would need water. How would you get these things? How would you get food? I would get food by using a fishing rod. If I were you, I would hunt for food. I would find fruit. How would you attract help? I would light a fire, create smoke signals. So these are examples. What items would you use? What skills would you need? Write a survival guide. There's an example in the worksheet. So if you get that, you can use this to build your own survival guide, detailing tips and using the vocabulary covered. So this brings us to the end of our survival lesson, and I'm glad that you survived it. Now I have some questions. If I were you, I would subscribe to the channel. Would you subscribe to the channel? So there is the subscription button below. You can stay up to date with all the latest videos. We also have the worksheets and the help sheets available in the description at Simple-ESL.com. We do have my link to Tutorful. If you're in the UK and would like £25 credit towards a tutoring session online, use my link. And as you saw, Preply, the tutoring service that I use, you can subscribe to Preply. There's 30% off in the description below, and I tutor on there, so you can meet me and we can discuss your goals and work on your English. So this will be the end of the lesson here. I will see you next time, where we will work on more English, better fluency, and there's lots of games and things that will be released on our socials. Stay up to date, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.